Good morning. Welcome to the live stream. Today is Sunday, September 7th. Monique Robinson is here. Good morning, Monique. You missed all the excitement yesterday. Today, I was like, Angela, take the weekend off. Then I said, no, I want to finish. Yesterday was a little bit of a disaster. We had some audio issues, and it was just, in over a year of streaming, I have never taken down a video. Yesterday's video has been deleted, and I'm fine with that. So, Go Elmo Go is here. Welcome. Go Elmo Go. So happy to see you. So we are working on a Reels style. I had to keep the word Instagram out of the title and the description, but ChatGPT assured me that I could use the word Instagram in the video, in the stream. So we are doing a Reels style feed, basically. And yesterday we worked on all the JavaScript, and we had a little excitement yesterday when I actually hooked up my phone to OBS. That's my streaming software, which we do all the time here to QA on iOS. And all of the audio on Instagram was playing on the stream, and I didn't know that. The chat was telling me, but I had no idea. The chat was telling me what was happening, and I still didn't understand that they were hearing all of the copyrighted music from Instagram because I couldn't hear anything. I had no control over the volume on my end. I've spent some time with my phone hooked up to OBS trying to see where the audio even is feeding into OBS. Nothing. I have no idea how that happened, and I have no control over it, which kind of freaks me out when I think about all the times that I hook up my iPhone and stream, even though we're just looking at like normal websites. So it was a good lesson. And I guess in, just over a year of streaming, it had to happen eventually, right? And instead of dealing with a video where I was going to have to go in and trim out a bunch of copyrighted music, I was like, you know what? We can let this one go. We can just delete this one. It's fine. So that's what we did. You win some, you lose some. It's totally fine. It doesn't matter. And in the moment, it feels like a disaster, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not. It's just a blip. So Raul is here. Raul was here for the excitement yesterday. So was Go Elmo Go. Yes. So all of this is, I made a bunch of videos to simulate a series of reels, and I pulled it from some spinning that I had done for actual Instagram reels about a year and a half ago. And as proof, hang on, I still have the yarn that I made. It's one of my best spins that I've ever done. And this is my first 3-ply spin also. So I think that this is very spin cycle worthy. And then I got a 20-gram 2-ply out of the end. There we go. Are you going to focus? There we go. Also really nice. So I haven't used these yet for anything. Whoops. Yeah, I haven't done any spinning in a while, but yeah, Go Elmo Go is here. He was here yesterday. So yeah, yesterday was an adventure. Yeah, the yarn part was great. And I was like, oh, I think I actually have some vertical video. So here we are. We're not playing any audio today. Okay. I'm sufficiently paranoid and a little freaked out. And honestly, I would just like a little more time to investigate to figure out why I don't have control over iPhone audio if I'm hooked up to OBS. Because I've been using OBS for over a year now. I have it pretty locked down, and I have no idea where the audio is coming from in OBS. I don't know how to control it on my iPhone. It is a mystery to me. So I would like some time to figure that out this week. So there will be no audio today for anything. New York Code is here. You're not late, New York Code. You're right on time. You are right on time. You are exactly where you should be. He was here. New York Code was here yesterday too for the adventure. So, okay. So here's what we're going to do today. I have a screenshot. Of one of my Instagram reels. This is exactly what we are going to build today. I feel like when I scroll Instagram, I feel like the UI changes constantly. Sometimes it's black, sometimes it's white. I assume some of that has to do with my own system settings, but I also feel like the UI is different if it's your reel versus if it's somebody else's reel. I don't know. I took a screenshot. This is what we're going to go with. So this is what we're going to use as our mock-up. The good news is that all of the actual JavaScript and scrolling and playing functionality, that's all in place. So there's really no additional JavaScript that we have to work on today. So I was thinking about like, how do I really want to approach this? Because we are going to have to put our markup in the list for each right here. Let's get over here. So our markup is going to go here. But I don't really want to I don't want to mess with markup in the JavaScript just for the sake of styling. So what I decided to do is I'm going to take one of these sections, I'm going to copy it. And just so I can get my markup for this overlay figured out, I'm just going to put a static section in for now. We'll put our overlay in here. So now we have a duplicate. That's perfectly fine. We're going to get an overlay in here. I'm just going to do div with a class of overlay. And this is how we're going to style today and get our elements in here. I have a ton of SVGs ready to go. And we're just going to have fun. We're just going to have some fun. And then when we have everything styled and looking the way we want to, we'll go ahead and pop it into our JavaScript. Will we have scroll hijack? I see scroll bar in your final version, but Instagram, TikTok doesn't have that. Are you talking about this on here? You know, I hadn't thought, here's the thing, I hadn't thought that much into it. My focus is much more on the user interface and a little less on functionality. I'm just going to be perfectly honest about why I chose to do this type of a project. It was because I wanted to style this. It wasn't because I cared about any of that other stuff. I just have to be honest with what I was thinking about. I'm not going to be able to 100% recreate what these social media apps are doing because I don't notice things like that, and I also don't care because all I really want to do is build this user interface. So I feel like, so first of all, I love these questions because it helps me kind of drill down on what my own motivation is for some of these projects. My motivation is probably a lot different than somebody else's motivation. So Raul, I see you as being somebody who really thinks a lot about like the functionality. I think you are also far more experienced when it comes to JavaScript than I am. My own motivation is that I just want to build a cool looking user interface. And honestly, some other stuff, I just don't notice things like that. It's just not where my attention is. I'm more thinking about like, how can I tap this to get the animated heart? That's what I'm thinking about. That's what I want to try and figure out. So I hope that answers your question. Honestly, I think it's basically a non-answer to the question, but it's the best answer that I have. I also found this. I Googled CSS Instagram Reel Tap Heart. Oh, come on. Son of a gun. Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you save. Gosh darn it, this was giving me... I should have saved that snippet. This yesterday I Googled this and I was like, oh, I'll just bookmark the thing that I Googled. And of course, it was the AI overview and it didn't save what it gave me yesterday. I should have saved that snippet. Oops, something went wrong. Okay. We'll come back to this. We have other stuff to do. Okay. Here's what I want to do. I just want to start working on this user interface. That's what I care about. I think we should also put in like this up here, which is, you know, obviously from the device. I want to put these things in as a header, and then I want to put this in as the footer. That just makes sense to me in my brain. So, and then I don't really have cover art. Like this song that I used in this reel was Selena Gomez. And this is cover art from that album. I don't really have cover art. So we can just go find something, even though I have different... The music I'm using is open source, but those are like actual artists. Yeah, and this caption I think is different from this. Where is our data? Oh, so there's closed captions. Title, artist, license. I don't have cover art, but we could just make something up for that. What's the difference between this and this? I'm not sure. I think I'm going to focus on this and use this caption. We'll use this caption down here, and I guess we could duplicate it up here, but I'm more thinking about the icons and things. Okay, let's get started. So if we start from here, we've got a caret or an arrow pointing to the left and reels. So I guess that would be a button. Type button. Did I not save? I did not save an arrow. Okay. Oh, chevron. Chevron, I guess I did. Okay. And I'm going to make this aria hidden true. And I guess this is just, what, a title? And then I guess this would be like a sidebar. I think these are definitely separate. Let's give this a class of top of the reel. And I'm just going to say meta container. So we have an avatar, the name, and the artist. I'm just going to say author. I guess I don't have a picture of myself. Hang on. Other headshot. Well, Reels author profile image. Boy, there's going to be a lot of divs here, isn't there? This needs to be in a container. This needs to be in a container. This needs to be in a container. Oh yeah, the awards website. I remember them. Good. I mean, see, I don't think if I wasn't streaming, I don't think that I would be doing any of this stuff. It's such good practice and it's so much fun. And the questions that you guys are asking me about just makes me think like, oh yeah, I have like very specific ideas about why I want to do this. Like replicating reels for me is I have a totally different motivation than other people. Like the things that we see or that we notice or that we want to learn how to do or deconstruct. It's very interesting to me. Oh, hang on one second. Okay. So it's going to be a lot of containers. So we've got the author. Well, the figure is a container, but that all needs to be inside of a container. And then this is going to have to be in another container. It's going to be a lot of divs. It's going to be a lot of divs. So, and then this would be, we'll say author, artist. Well, we better call it a container because that's what it is. And then div author. We'll say IG author. Author. And then div IG artist. You know, I probably shouldn't be using IG. Yeah. ChatGPT was very clear about the fact that I should not be using the word IG in the title, the description, nowhere in writing. So, okay. And then we've got our SVG, which I don't think that I need a container. I feel like the SVG can be the container. We'll go ahead and put it here. You know what though? It's really, but you can add your own class. I'm going to give it a class of, I'll just call it what it is. It's a musical note. Hopefully that's enough. And then we are going to need another, we could probably do a span. We'll see. And then we'll just say real song. And I'm going to grab one from the data. Title artist, just like you, the wildcards. Okay, so that was the author artist container. Now we'll do the caption. Well, I'll grab it from the data. And then we'll say do another div. Likes, comments. So I do have data for the like count and the comment count. Liked by, we can just add this. And then we'll grab a picture of Heidi. She can be liked by. She can be the liked by. like count, comment count, liked by, and 23 others. Okay. Liked by Heidi, Shelty, and 23 others. So let's get another profile picture. As if I didn't have 5,000 pictures of my dog. I do. Let's see here. I don't have a I don't have a picture. How is that possible? I mean, I have pictures. I have 5 million pictures of my dog, but none that are optimized. So we are going to do that right now. Let's do it. Because that is a tiny picture and we need it to be well optimized. So thank you, Monique. Please like and subscribe if you have not done so already. It takes a lot to code in real time. I was watching a video this morning. I think the channel is called Big Think. And it was about being in the flow. So it was all about people who like get in the flow and like the whole like process, the chemistry and the biology between motivation and creativity, and then getting in the flow, and how like an example of being in the flow is that time can, you can be working and all of a sudden 2 hours goes by, things like that. And it just made me think of, I was like, yeah, it's actually a lot harder to stream and code than I thought it would be, but I'm getting better at it. Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's a channel called Big Think. It's pretty interesting. So, okay. So let's crop and optimize a photo. Heidi is going to be our, gotta get the ears in there. Oops, there we go. Let's see how big this is. All right, let's see how we can, at 500 is pretty big. 500 by 500 is pretty big, but let's see what we can get this. Yeah, 200, that's maybe doesn't need to be that big. So if we save it at 50% quality, the size is 26 kilobytes. So I think that's just fine for such a tiny little photo. And we'll say Heidi Shelty. So I don't have data for a few things here in the screenshot. Not many, but a few. And those things can just be static. I just don't have a desire to change that right now. I'm more interested in actually building the UI and getting it styled. That's all I care about. So, okay. So we are also going to need just a little profile picture there. So we'll do another figure with the class of figure. And an image. What did I do here? Reels author profile image. Let's say Reels commenter, commenter, Reels commenter profile image. And then maybe we should have this in a paragraph tag. Okay, and then I'm going to call this our sidebar. So here's the, oh, I think we have too many things inside this author. Caption, like, comments. There we go. Author. Meta container. What? Hang on. Why are we still inside the author? There we go. Caption, like, comments. Okay. And this is the top. This is the main container. Okay. This is all coming together now. So, and then let's do I guess a sidebar. And should this be an article? Kind of feel like maybe it should be. Article. And then this can be an aside. That's semantic, right? And then this should be really easy to do with grid, right? Yeah, I think so. We'll find out. Class. And then this is, I'm just going to do meta sidebar. Okay. We have a heart. We have a comment. What is this? Repost? Share? What is this? I don't know what this is. Repost. What is this? Send. I don't, and then this ellipsis. Okay, so I'm going to call this repost because I actually don't know what this is. And I'm going to call this send because I don't know what that is either. That's how much I use social media. Okay, so we'll do class. We're just going to call this hearts. It's remix, maybe. Okay. So, so this little thing you do is remix. And then Go says the airplane is share send. Share send. Okay. I can get on board with that. I mean, it actually doesn't matter what it does because I'm not worried. I'm not going to build that functionality. I literally just don't know what they are. So we'll call this remix. And then we'll call this share. That works, right? Not too serious, just having fun. Just having fun. And then I'm going to put a span in here with the class of access hidden. And we'll say a heart is a like, right? Likes. We'll just say likes. We'll just call it the likes. Number of likes. Number of likes. There we go. And then we can put and we'll call this like count. What do you think? Should I start applying for a job at Meta? No. No, I should not. Okay, like count 92. Wouldn't that be nice? The other one is repost. The arrows are repost, but I like remix more. Fair enough. The other one is repost. You know what? We're going to go with the remix. We're going to go with the remix just because we roll our own here, don't we? So okay, so here's our hearts, which is the number of likes. Here's the SVG, and then we have a div with a class of like count. Okay. Comments. The class of access hidden. We'll say number of comments. Chat bubble. See, this is the fun part. This is the part that I love. Wouldn't it be wild if we actually made something that looked like an Instagram reel? I think we can do it. You know, and we should probably give these, we should actually give these all the same classes so we don't have to rewrite all those styles. So we'll do, they are going to need a unique class. So let's do hearts, and then let's do, let's just do count. Comments, count. We'll do meta count because we do need a unique class, but we also need a class that's the same for styling. And then meta count. We'll say meta count container. And then this can just be meta count. Yeah. Meta count container. And this can just be meta count. Six. All right, and then we've got remix and share. Div. Remix. And we've got meta count container. Oops. Which one is which? Repeat outline. And if we don't get this all done today, we'll finish working on it next weekend. I'm honestly completely fine. I wanted to make, oh, I am not in the right view here. I wanted to make the month of September like all sort of recreating the Instagram, various Instagram parts of the UI. I think the Reels is the most complicated because of the actual videos and the pause and the play and things like that. Now that I understand the scroll snap and I understand what it is that I care the most about, I have just a lot more clarity on how I want to approach these after yesterday and today. So I'm prepared to make all of September just recreating various parts of the Instagram UI. So if we don't finish this today, I am perfectly fine coming back and finishing it next weekend because this is what we are going to do. This is what we are going to do. So, all right. This does not, well, this does need a span with a class of access hidden. And we're going to say Reels remix. Div share I think this is navigate. Say aria hidden true. And I'll say share this reel. And then we've got an ellipsis. Is that how you spell ellipsis? I think so. I'm just going to say more about this reel because I don't know what that does either. And then we've got cover art. I actually have to find some cover art, I guess. I'm going to reuse, I will go and find some cover art. I'm going to reuse this photo from Heidi because I just can't be bothered to go do that right now. Artist album cover art. That could definitely be better. Yeah, I think that's it. There isn't anything else there, right? Wow. Okay. Let's start styling. So I'm going to take out, well, I guess it doesn't matter. That can be up there. Okay, so we definitely need this overlay to be so the realist position relative. The video is so the video, the only thing that's position absolute is this mute button. Okay, so that helps. So the overlay can be position absolute also. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about this button for now. Overlay. So we'll say position absolute. We'll do inset 0. I guess width 100%, height 100%. I probably don't need those if you're inset 0. And then let's do some base styles. So let's make sure that our images are display block. Max width 100%. Height auto. Same with our SVGs, even though I'm thinking of one already that I know needs to be display inline. Maybe we could just do display inline block instead of display block. And we'll see how that goes. And then just temporarily, let's give our SVGs a width and a height of 2 rems, just to sort of contain things. And then we didn't really check to see, that helps. We didn't really check to see if there were any, yeah, we need to take out anything that's got like an inline current color and leave all of these stroke attributes blank. That is for styling. And pretty much all of these are going to have a stroke, not a fill. Because that's just how the Ionicons seem to work. So let's just give everything a fill of white. There we go. And then let's just control these images just temporarily. I'm going to give everything a width of, well, 3, we'll say 3 rems. We'll just do a width of 3 rems just to get them under control. Perfect. Perfect. This helps. This helps. And then I think we're going to need a font. Let's just use a system font. Let's just use I don't know, does Instagram have an official font? Instagram font family. Instagram sans typeface. Oh, so they have their own. DM Sans. So this came up. Let's use it. Why not? Why not? Why not? All right, and then we'll say font size. I mean, I'm not doing anything special here. I'm just doing everything just like it's a normal web page. I mean, it all still runs on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? There we go. Look at that. I do not see... All right, hang on here. I do not see some of my SVGs. Oh, did I, hang on. I did fill, not stroke, so we'll do both. There we go. So some have fill, some have stroke. Fair enough. Okay, so for this overlay, I feel like we've got a top, a left, and a right. And I feel like the left, if we kind of broke it up, I feel like it would be 3/4 and 1/4, and then the top would be the full. So I'm thinking that I'll do display grid template rows, or grid template columns. Gonna say 3 FR, 1 FR. Here's the top. Grid column. And isn't it 4 span? Am I doing that right? No. There we go. Span 4. There's the top. And then I need these to be like not flex end, but end. But not this. No, yeah, actually I do need them all to be like that. Align items. Yes, thank you. End, but I need the top to be aligned at the top. Okay, let's ask. Let's ask for help. Um, I'm using CSS grid. I have can I align the child of display grid to the top, but have the other children aligned to the end? Yes, you can control this with per item alignment inside a grid. So Rahul is asking, should we set the 9 to 16 aspect ratio directly using a CSS property, or should we control it by specifying height and width manually? We know the content will always be a portrait orientation. I don't know. So you must be talking about this. I mean, I'm only doing it for desktop, so I'm not setting the, I'm not putting a width or a height. I'm doing height DVH for mobile. I'm only setting the aspect ratio for desktop. So, and I would prefer to set an aspect ratio. I personally just think it's a better approach. So, yeah. I always think that setting an aspect ratio is a better approach, in my opinion. I don't like to get locked in to a width and a height. That's just my personal opinion. I learned about aspect ratio like a year ago, less than a year ago, and I think it's, in my experience, a much better approach than setting a width and a height. I would always prefer to be dealing with an aspect ratio than hard and fast width and height. I just feel like it's way more flexible. And for this, I'm only doing it for the desktop version of this. So there is no width. There's only the dynamic viewport height for mobile, if that makes sense. So hopefully that answers your question on how I decided to approach that. Okay, so yes, you can control this with per item alignment inside a grid. And I did want to put align items end grid align self start. Got it. So for top, we'll do align self start. Oh, look at that. It's coming together. It almost looks like a real Instagram reel, and it's like not even styled yet. This makes me so happy. This is actually going to work. Okay. I'm so excited. Okay. I do think that we should adjust this a little bit. Like this sidebar could be a little more narrow. Oh, this is exciting. So let's make this 4, right? We're not locked into 12 columns anymore. We are not locked into 12 columns anymore. We need to get our access hidden. Oh, this is so exciting. This is so exciting. I'm so glad I decided to do this. I'm so glad. Where is my GitHub? Let's see here. I just need some CS. Just need my access hidden. I never remember. There we go. You guys, it almost looks like the real Instagram. It almost looks like the real Instagram. How cool is this? I think I should start applying for jobs at Meta, like tomorrow, right? I'm just kidding, but not really. But I am. But maybe I'm not. I don't know. Okay. Look how well. I mean, this is okay. So this is what is so cool to me about semantic markup, and this is why I will never stop preaching about good semantic markup and understanding template hierarchy and baseline basic CSS. That is all we've done here, and look at how well this has fallen into place. Look at how well this has fallen into place just by using semantic clean HTML and understanding the basics. And go Elmo go, you get all the credit for telling me to start using CSS grid. Sometimes it's the little things that bring joy. Sometimes it's the little things that bring joy. Yes. I mean, if you need a dopamine hit, I'm telling you, start learning front-end development. Okay, Angela, do some actual work now. So let's go back to, let's give our container some padding. So maybe, what is that, like 1.5 rems of padding? Beautiful, beautiful. That was the overlay. Let's see here. Oh, and we are spilling out of our container a little bit here. Oh, no, in fact, I'm ready to pin this as a comment up at the top. No border radius, don't even ask. Next, we have to get you to love border radius. Very, very few exceptions am I going to love border radius. So, okay, so I am noticing that I've got an overflow issue. Let's see here. Okay, this works. I mean, we set box sizing border box. Box sizing border box. Oh, but I didn't do it here, did I? Because we are having an it's adding padding like it's content box. Box sizing border box. Let's see if that works now. There we go. Right here, that's why we put that's why we always change our. See, I had a question once on one of my videos. Why do I do this? Why do I do these wildcards if I'm putting box sizing border box on the HTML element? Was that the question? I can't remember if the person was asking me why I do it in both places when you should only need to do it in one place. I think what we just experienced is the best example of that. I did not have it here. I did not have it on these wildcard selectors, and I was having overflow issues adding padding to my container, and having the wildcard selector fix that. Yeah, so that's a great example of why we do that. Anyways, okay. Now let's make sure that this is also aligned. So I think we want to do, I think that we also want to do some justify. We can also do justify content here, right? Space between. Yep, no, that didn't work. Hang on. We could also just make that narrower. Make this 5. Well, we could maybe just say text align. Right. I mean, again, basic CSS. I think we need a little more space. I'm going to add a little more padding. I like this column ratio. And then for our aside, meta sidebar, I'm just going to do text align right. Cosmic Insight, nice voice. You're complimenting my voice. Thank you. That seems sincere, so I'll take it. I think my voice sounds annoying, but I'll take the compliment. As long as one element has slight border. Oh yeah, I already read that one. All right. Wow. Okay. What's happening to this image down here? This cover art. Ah, we have some more styles. I'll do this. Our margin off those figures. There we go. Okay, let's figure out what's happening up here at the top. So our button is display inline block. Let's just go ahead and make our title display inline block. Let's oh, we probably need to make these buttons too. The heart, the comment. Yeah, those should all be buttons too. Let's also do some just basic button styles then. Button, border, none, background color, transparent. And I have a couple of questions from Cosmic Insight. How long have you been doing this? Building websites. About 12 years. This might be, I don't know if I've even really introduced myself today. My name is Angela. I live in St. Paul, Minnesota, and I'm a front-end developer. I do also have a software engineering degree. And yeah, I've been doing this for about 12 years. Started streaming about a year ago. By the way, do me a favor, if you're new here and you haven't hit the like button yet, please go ahead and do so. I would appreciate it. Helps me push this out to more people who might like this type of content. And if you aren't subscribed yet, I would also appreciate that. We've had a little growth spurt here over the last couple of months. We've more than doubled in size. We hit that oh so satisfying 1K subs last weekend, which was pretty cool. And yeah, every weekend we just practice HTML, CSS, and vanilla JavaScript. In my personal projects, I really don't use any frameworks or libraries. In my work, I, of course, use frameworks and libraries. Let's see here. In my work, I definitely use frameworks and libraries. But yeah, we just like to practice here. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see here. This is not an inline style. The documentation advises against using inline styles. Yeah, I'm not using an inline style. I'm using display inline block. So that's the difference, right? So I agree, we don't ever use inline styles. It's bad for accessibility. You really should not use them. So let's see here. For my SVGs, I'm using display inline block. And then we're going to go ahead and style the title to be display inline, so it is in line with the button element. Hope that answers your question. If you see me using an inline style, let me know where that is, because I don't think I'm using that. So, okay, let's get back to it. External CSS are too OP. I'm not sure what that means. But if you have a question, I'm happy to answer it. Okay. So here's our title. I'm also going to make this display inline block. And those should be lined up now, just like that. And let's see here. We might actually want to I need this to be centered. Overpowered. Oh yeah, I didn't know what that meant. External CSS are too overpowered. I'm not sure what that means. I remember building my project of web technologies course, struggled a lot but learned a lot. Yeah, the struggle is the most important part. The struggle is the most important part. Okay, so we have these aligned, but I do need that. We'll just put a width on this. My button is, I'm going to take the padding off my buttons also. And then my buttons should be 2 rems by 2 rems, because that's what I set the SVG to. And I'm good with that size. So that makes it 32 pixels. So I'm going to go ahead and give the title a width. So I'm just going to say calc 100% minus 2 rems. And then I should be able to text align center this. Perfect. And then let's make this a little bit bigger. Oh. Why don't you like that? Oh, we could also do there we go. You're still not aligning the way I want you to. Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to be on the parent. There we go. And then let's make this just a little bit bigger. It's not perfectly centered. I think it's good enough. Let's make this a little bigger. Good enough is done. And then let's give this some text shadow. And I think there are 3 values for text shadow, right? 1 pixel, 1 pixel, 1 pixel, and then RGBA. 0, 0, 0. It's 15%. There we go. Let's give it a little more. Bump this up a little. I'm going to give it text shadow because I think it needs it, but this looks good to me. I'm good with this. Yeah, that is pretty big. There. Okay, we're going to move on. Let's figure out what's happening here. So we've got our author, figure, authorless container. So I'm going to flex box. Let's see here. Here's our caption. So this needs to be to the left. So many little moving pieces. Oops. we go. And then I feel like, so that's round. How big do we think this is? Maybe 110 by 110. So we'll say the author figure. I'm going to say a width of 110 pixels. Well, we already have a max width and we already have a height. And it's already a square. And I'm going to say overflow hidden author image. I'm confusing my figures and my images. No, I want the figure. Yeah, I want the figure to be the size. So any image size could go in there because I'm not going to resize the image. Width, height, 110 pixels. Overflow hidden. And I'm going to put a border radius of 50%. Width 100%, height 100%, object fit cover. There we go. That's really big though. Yeah, I guess it's that big. I think my text is just really small. We'll keep going. So here's our real author. And then let's increase the font weight. There we go. And then let's give, let's put some gap here. So we'll say a gap of 1 rem. There we go. And then here's our artist. And the SVG by default is display inline. I changed it to display inline block. Spans are also by default display inline, so these naturally line up with one another. I think we could also say vertical align middle here, and that automatically aligns those together. So now, and these have a little bit of opacity too. Well, opacity or maybe just a lighter gray. And then also the title scrolls. So I think we can do that with CSS, right? So here's the real artist with the SVG. And the real song. How do you scroll with CSS? I know you can. I'm pretty sure you can. Can I use CSS to scroll text in a loop? I know I've done this before. It's been years. Yes, you can scroll text infinitely in pure CSS using keyframes. Okay. All right, so we can put that in a paragraph tag. Yep, and it's display inline block. So we'll just put that in a paragraph tag and change the display. The container hides overflow and prevents wrapping. The child text is padded so it starts off screen to the right. The translate X animation moves it left until it fully disappears. Infinite makes it loop forever. Okay, let's so we'll change this to a paragraph. Real artist. So the real artist is the Marquee. And then the real song. This is a great example of using ChatGPT or using AI as a tool for these little UI elements. What? Okay, we have a little adjustment to do. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. Let's see here. Padding left. So I don't want to do 100%. Start from the right edge. We want to adjust this a little bit, like maybe 25%. There we go. I think we can make that a little smoother. Okay. Hang on, I'm going to take a picture of this. Okay. It works. I'm adjusting the padding so it starts sooner. It's also overlapping the SVG musical note. So Tausif says, I'm currently on my way to learning machine learning. Wish you luck. Good luck with that. That's definitely the future, isn't it? Cosmic Insight is asking, is web development still a good thing to get learning as freshers and in 2025. I think you're asking if it's still worthwhile for people to learn development. I absolutely think it's worthwhile for people to learn development. I think I mean AI is it's like the Industrial Revolution, right? I mean, how long ago was the Industrial Revolution? 150 years ago, something like that. It's changing how we work and the types of jobs that people do. It's, in my opinion, I have seen AI eliminate jobs. It is eliminating the jobs of the people who weren't really doing that much work to begin with, in my opinion. So it's a tool. It's going to make us faster, more efficient, and employers are going to expect more out of us. And that's totally fine, because if you understand how to use this as a tool, you will be able to produce more. You'll be able to do more. You should be able to meet those expectations. So AI is changing everything. It's not going to replace people like you and I that are strategically minded and are and have and need to implement specific strategic things, right? Because AI can help with strategy. It's a tool for strategy, but we are the architects. We are the ones who bring the insight and the knowledge and the architecture to what actually needs to be built. And then AI is going to be the tool to help us do that. So I personally think that humans still very much need to learn web development and need to know how to do this. And yeah, just with my experience in this business, I don't see AI completely replacing people right now, not as it currently stands. So I feel like I have a pretty good insight into AI's limitations and the mistakes that it makes, and how you really need a person to tell it what kind of code we need and the types of things we need to implement. So yeah, AI has completely changed everything. It really has, but for the better, in my opinion. So yes, this is the beauty of practice. This is the beauty of practice. So, okay. 2 clean ways to stop the text from running under the musical note and make it start sooner. Give the icon its own column, no overlap. What's the other? If the icon must overlap, visually mask the left edge, fade in. Actually, the column is starting to seem like a better. And it's saying to repeat the text. Oh, because the marquee is the entire container. So let's just yeah, so let's just real artist, real song, div, real scroll. Oh, wait a second. This. We can still get these lined up. And I also need this to be displayed in line block. Okay, we need to change the width of this. So my SVG is 32 by 32. Oh yeah, display inline block accounts for the natural spacing. Okay, so that's fine. We'll do calc 100% minus 2.5 rems. There, perfect. Perfect. And I don't think that we need any padding. Why do we need any padding? I'm fine with it. Yeah, we do need to sort of transition that though, don't we? Or I guess we could just do, that. That's not the right song though. Just like you. I love it. I love it. Okay. So simple. So simple. So we need to tighten this up a little bit and we need to change this. I feel like this has opacity. That's kind of, and I feel like this image is also way too big. Let's change the image to like 75. I think our SVG could be a little smaller as well. One moment here. Okay. I mean, I kind of just want to put a little bit of opacity here, like maybe 90%. There we go. And really, we should put that on the parent container or on Real Artist. There. Oh, that's a little, maybe 70%. There we go. That looks, I think that looks nice. And then we need to get, I feel like this just all has too much line height. So let's just change the line height of the author artist container. Comes after. There we go. See, changing the line height made all the difference. I still feel like something just has this has like a little too much space. Oh yeah, the margin on the pad on the paragraph tag. Got it. I knew something was off. So the real song, we're going to take out the margin. Paragraph tags by default. There we go. Okay, so we need to adjust it a little bit. We could probably just add back in a little bit of line height. Or we could just go back to the original, just like that. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much matches. I think our SVG maybe is just a little too big also. See, getting rid of that margin, our line height is okay. Let's just adjust the size of our SVG, which we gave its own class, musical note. So right now it's 2 rems by 2 rems. Let's see what 1.25 rems width. I mean, I'm going to call it good here. I think this looks pretty darn good. I like it. I love it. Okay. And then let's see, that has an ellipsis. Let's adjust the text size of our description, our caption here. So we're done with that. Now this is our caption, which also has paragraph tag. And I don't think we need to adjust this margin at all, but I'm just going to adjust the text size. We'll just bump it up a little bit. There we go. Wow. Okay. I'm not going to do anything else there. Here's our like comments section. Hopefully you can see this. Oh, you can't see. Hang on. There we go. Here is our like comment section. I think I'm just gonna flexbox this as well. I live next to the St. Paul fire station, so yes, lots of fire trucks zooming up and down the road. Sorry about that. I'm kind of immune to it, but I realize when I'm streaming that it's really loud. So, okay. So like, comments, figure. This is really tiny. So I'm going to make this a width of, I don't know, 50 pixels and a height of 50 pixels. What do I do up here? I didn't use an aspect ratio here, did I? I normally do. I'm not sure it matters. These are so tiny. I don't know if it really matters at all, but I do like to be consistent. I'm going to do pretty much the same thing. Oh. Oops. There's somebody outside yelling. You'll have to let me know if that's too loud because it's a bit vulgar. I can hear it. I don't know if you guys can hear it. There we go. That's nice and tiny. There we go. We'll give it a little gap. 0.5. Look at that. I think this has a little bit of opacity also. Let's see here. So that's the like, comments, paragraph. There we go. And I think that this caption does have way too much margin. Maybe just like one rem on the top. There we go. Let me see here. So for this comment about using inline styles, did you mean that I was putting styles here in the browser inline when I was just testing out? That it just occurred to me that that might have been what you were asking me. Yeah, so that's just, hopefully you know that that's just me like experimenting in the browser to see what does or doesn't work. So if that's what, it just occurred to me that might have been what you were asking about. So how cool does this look so far? I mean, come on. Wow. We don't have that much more to do here. I'm going to keep going because we don't have that much more to do here. Yeah, this is so cool. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. So here's our aside. I actually think we could just probably do text align center. And then maybe we could just make the column a little narrower. I'm always looking for the easiest way to get something done. So what if we make that 8? And then if we say text align center. Yeah, look at that. We could we could even increase that up to 9. And it fits. It all fits. And then let's just make sure that everything has a little bit of space. So in the meta sidebar, meta count container doesn't need any special positioning, doesn't need grid, doesn't need flexbox. I mean, I suppose if we really wanted to do like display grid just for the sake of giving it a gap, we could. I don't think we need to though. I think we could just say like, just give it some margin on the top and bottom. And that would space it out. Yeah. I could give it a little more. That looks great. I cannot believe that this worked this as well as this did. Oh yeah, it needs a lot more margin. Give it a little more margin. I'm completely blown away. Especially after yesterday. I was like, Angela, give it up. What are you doing? So I am thinking that we still need to get all of this into our JavaScript. We need to make sure that we're pulling the dynamic information from the JSON. Plus, I do want to be able to do the tap to mute and unmute. And I want to be able to tap to heart. So maybe we should finish that next weekend. Like, I feel like this is pretty huge that we got this styling done today. Let's finish off our functionality next weekend. And then we can also dive into just doing a post, like just doing like an author or like a profile page, which really wouldn't require any JavaScript at all, right? So we could just do a profile page and then finish our functionality. And this is going to be like Instagram month. Yes, this is so fun. Okay. So let's finish the styling, and I am thinking that yes, we're going to finish our functionality next weekend because there's still some things that I want to do. There's still some things I want to do with the functionality. But let's keep going here. So we just need to, okay, go Elmo, go. You're going to get your border radius right here. You're going to get your rounded corners. And then that'll give me some time to go find album art for the music that I chose. And let's at least see if we can get the overlay into the JavaScript today. And then we can figure out we can do more mute, unmute, and tap to heart next weekend. Let's see here. So here is our cover art. We need to make sure cover art. Cover art. I think we can just do margin 1.5 rems, auto. There we go. Does that center it? No. Oh, let's do center the figure. All right, we'll give this, what is that, 68? It's about the right size. So it's like 4.25 rems. Let's say 68 pixels. Height, auto. Aspect ratio 1:1. Overflow will be hidden. Border radius 10 pixels. There we go. We'll make that a little smaller. What do we think? Wow. It's so cool. It's so cool. Oh, we also have to fix, these need to be buttons. Those need to be buttons. So let's fix that really quick. Yeah, so these need to be buttons with a type equal button and then an ARIA label. ARIA label, number of likes, and then we don't need this span. Type equal button, ARIA label. Number of comments. Okay, but the SVG is the button. Yeah, the SVG is the button. This still needs to be a div. Type equals button. aria label. Tap heart to like. There we go. And there's our button. Perfect. Perfect. Button, type equals, button, aria label, tap to comment. Type equals, button, aria label, tap to remix. Oops. Tap to share. Type equals button, aria label, tap to learn more about this reel. Okay. Make sure everything looks okay. Wow. Okay, so let's just get our static stuff in, and we're gonna call it a day, and we're gonna finish our functionality. We're gonna finish all of the functionality next weekend. Very exciting. Okay, so here is our overlay right here. So we need to get that into our list. Overlay, document, create element, div. Let me see here. Oops. Here we go. Don't think we don't need this. There it is. And we need to make sure that we are appending it to our section. Append child. Overlay. Look at that. So let's take this out. We'll take out our static. What? What? We did that. We also need to put in our header and our footer. So we're going to do that too next weekend. We are not done yet. We are not done yet. Wow. I think this is so cool. Let me get this pushed up to GitHub. And the GitHub repository and demo page are both linked down in the description. Everything I do is open source. MIT license. It's free to use. You are free to use it in a personal project, a commercial project, whatever you want. I have a note about this in the README, but the music that I used on my videos, I have a license for from Artlist. You do not have that same license. So if the videos are freely available if you want to use them for educational purposes, but you don't have a license for the music. So just FYI, the music was licensed. That's why I put it in there. So it is safe for me to use, but it is not safe for you to use if you are streaming or creating videos. So just worth mentioning. Overlay, hang on. Overlay and styles. Okay. Do we dare check this on iPhone? I'm still feeling a little nervous after yesterday, but we're not going to open up Instagram. We are not going to open up Instagram. And all of the music is licensed. So, but I do think that we need to check it. And we've done it before. We've done it before. We've checked the browser before. So, let's see. Well, let's even make sure that it got deployed. There it is. Oh, interesting. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh yeah, this is I'm glad we're checking this. Hang on here. Let me show you what I'm seeing. So we definitely need to. So the difference obviously is that we are looking at this in the browser. We are not looking at this in Instagram, right? So not everything is going to be exactly perfect or look exactly the way it does on Instagram. So the first thing I'm thinking is that we have way too much padding around the edge. We don't need that much padding. I'm also thinking that we have a lot of margin between our buttons on the far right-hand side, so we could definitely reduce that margin. I think the profile image could be a lot smaller. I think the text, the liked by Heidi Schulte and 23 others, that could be a lot smaller. But I also think that once we reduce some of our padding around the edges, that'll take care of a lot of that. Yeah. I mean, overall, I think it looks great. I think it looks great. We're just going to tweak some styles next weekend. We're going to get the tap to heart figured out. Maybe if we're feeling ambitious, we could add comments, although I don't really care about that. What I care about is being able to tap that heart. I also want to like I think right now on actual reels, you tap to mute and unmute. And then how do you tap to heart? Is that if it's in the feed? I feel like that's a in the feed thing, and that the mute button. See, the UI changes depending on where you are, and I have a hard time keeping track. So maybe I'll just make a decision for myself on what I want it to be and go with it. But and then we also have our snap scroll. I just think this is so cool. I'm so glad I decided to do this. And after yesterday, I was like, F this. So I'm glad I stuck it out. Wow. I just love it so much. And then I'll get cover art. I'll go find cover art for my... This is so cool. All right. You are very influential. Go, Elmo, go. You are very influential. Thank you, Monique Robinson. Thank you, Go Elmo Go. Thank you, Rahul, our mods in the chat. We had some new people today that we hadn't heard from in the past. So Cosmic Insight. Tausif was here. Who else was here? Yeah. Thank you to everybody who came to hang out and to watch me build this. This was really, really fun. I'm excited to keep going and keep doing some more Instagram stuff. Single tap is mute, unmute. Double tap is like, unlike. Okay. Well, there is a click event for click and double click, right? Also, make the marquee start from start on each video if you want more functionality. Yeah, that's a very good point. I have some research to do this week. Because I have questions. So here's the thing about building stuff like this is I'm like, how do I approach this? What do I do? What do I not do? What do people expect? What do I care about? You have to jump in and get started in order to sort of, okay, I can only speak for myself. I have to jump in and just get started building in order to even figure out what I care about. I don't start projects knowing what I'm doing. It's very rare that I start a project knowing what I'm doing. I mean, with the stuff I do, like if it's just sort of a garden variety web page, yeah, I pretty much know what I'm doing. For stuff like this, I have no clue what I'm doing. I don't know what I care about. There's behavior that I am noticing for the first time that I've never noticed in 12 years, 15 years of using Instagram. I'm like, oh, that's a thing I never noticed. You just got to jump in and get started in order to figure out what you care about and what you want to do. I also feel like the name Fiber and Craft is too big. This is the difference between looking at it in the browser and looking at it. Let's do this. Yeah, the difference between looking at this on an actual mobile device and in the browser. So this is why I wanted to have an aspect ratio for the browser, and why I don't have an aspect ratio for a mobile device. I just want it to fit the size of the mobile device. Yeah. So this is a really good side-by-side comparison. Okay, well, we have some tweaking to do next week. We have some adjustments to make next week. And then we're going to figure out the single tap is mute, unmute, double tap is like, unlike. I love that. That's the thing that I want to figure out next week how to do. And then of course get our dynamic data and our album art in there. So, wow. This was so cool. This was so cool. You guys, thank you so much for being here, for hanging out with me, all the feedback, all the comments. This was so fun. I think I'm going to call it a day. Do me a favor. If you are here and you haven't liked the video yet, please go ahead and do so. It helps the algorithm. We can push this type of content out to more people who are interested in learning front-end development, who enjoy practicing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and who just want to work on fun projects like doing an Instagram Reels clone and having fun and practicing. So, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I would also appreciate it if you would do that as well. Everybody, have a great rest of your day wherever you are. Have an awesome week. I will see you next weekend, and we are going to continue to work on this, and we're going to continue to have fun. And you will have fun. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.